As a public defender, Judge Karen fought for her clients' rights. She was elected to the bench because she believes in doing the right thing.
I'm very passionate about helping people, period. Sometimes life pulls you from up here to down here to teach you a lesson, and you're in a valley right now. And there are lessons in this valley. I hope you learn from them.
Objective, independent justice.
You can always turn your life around. If you keep walking, you can overcome whatever circumstances you're facing.
This is Supreme Justice with Judge Karen. Molly and Joanne Hurst are suing esthetician Zoe Parker in the amount of $500. The co-plaintiffs claim Ms. Parker rented space at their salon and say the defendant failed to give notice before vacating.
Mrs. Hurst and Ms. Hurst, you are suing Ms. Parker for $500, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, and I understand that you own a salon?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I own a salon, and I have the business for about 30 years.
Okay, a hair salon?
A hair salon.
And you do hair yourself?
I do hair myself.
Okay, and what about you, ma'am?
I also, I graduated from beauty school, and I'm an esthetician.
Okay.
And when I turned 18, my mother and I split the ownership of the business.
So
50-50.
that you both own it?
50-50.
Okay. Yeah. And you, ma'am, are an esthetician?
Yes, I'm an esthetician as well.
Okay, so what type of treatments do you do?
I'm specialized in beauty. I'm in the beauty. I've been in the beauty industry for quite some time, but I focus on the esthetician services and beauty services, more so like facial, waxing, things like that.
Okay.
And I worked in her salon for 6 months.
Did you have other stylists or
No, she had no other
estheticians?
estheticians.
I'm asking her.
Sorry about that.
Yes,
Sorry.
excuse me.
Did you have other stylists or estheticians working there?
No, I had nobody. I only had 3 other people doing hair.
Okay.
So I did have the space, and I was looking for someone to fill out that space.
So you never had an esthetician
never.
before the defendant?
No, never.
But you had the space for one?
I had a space for it.
Okay.
And I wanted to bring in more money and increase business.
Okay. And was your daughter, what were you studying in school?
I was studying to be an esthetician.
So you were studying to be an esthetician?
Yes, but once I graduated from that, we always planned for me to go work with my mother since we split it 50-50.
Okay.
And
so when you entered into an agreement with the defendant, at what point, where were you in school at the time?
So I first started out for the first year, first 6 months she was working there, I was in school getting my esthetician's
Right.
license.
How much more time did you have before you were to graduate?
It was
6
5 months, 5.5, 6 months.
Later, you graduated?
Yes.
Okay, so what was the agreement, Ms. Hurst, that you made with Ms. Parker?
I said to her, I'm going to give you the chair. It's $500 a month.
Okay.
All the money that you bring in, it's your money.
Okay.
If you decide to leave at any point, please give me 30 days notice.
Was this in writing?
That was in writing.
Let me see the agreement, please. So what she said to me, ma'am,
Yes.
is that what the agreement was?
Yes, that was the agreement,
Okay.
that I was to rent out the chair for $500 a month.
Right, and is that
everything.
standard in your city? In LA,
yeah.
is $500 a month
That
standard
is
for
pretty-
chair rental?
Pretty
Okay.
standard.
more.
That was actually a very good price, yeah.
Okay. All right, so how was it then during these first 6 months? What was going on?
The first month was pretty rough. I had to establish and start from scratch.
You didn't have clients that you came in with?
Yes, all from mainly from social media. I just accomplished a milestone on social media. I
Right.
established.
But I'm saying you didn't have any regular clients of your own?
Yes, I started off in home.
Okay.
So I would do the services in home.
Right. So those folks
right.
started coming to the shop, is
Right.
that
Yes,
right?
but I help her a lot with my clients. We had a casual conversation that if I gave her some clients, she would give me 25%. And if she gave me some clients to do hair, then she would give me 25%.
Is that true?
So I did help her
Yes,
out
but
at the
that
beginning.
she did not help me with any clients. That was after I helped her with her clients, and so
Okay.
she decided that she wanted 25% because I was bringing a lot of people coming in for my services because
Right.
they didn't even know that she offered an esthetician services at her salon.
Right.
So it wasn't
you're saying
until
your clients
was coming in
going
for
over,
hair.
Right. Were coming over to you. Is
Right.
that right?
No,
More her clients coming to you than your clients going to her?
Yes.
Okay,
Vice
so
versa.
that's the truth then.
Exactly. But she would send me a lot of clients, and the first 6 months it was really good.
Right, so your
was
business
going-
picked up then.
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
She was eager to work, and she had a lot of, being younger, she knew a lot of social media, so she brought a lot of new clients to the salon.
Were you advertising your salon on social media?
Ma'am.
No, nothing?
I was at advertising, but I was still the old-fashioned.
Doing it in the paper?
Yellow pages.
Right. Yeah, they have yellow
flyers. Yeah.
Okay.
Where I live.
So that's the only advertising you were doing is
I did flyers, and sometimes I
Flyers.
hire a person to put flyers in cars or send it to,
Mostly
like,
it's word of mouth, Your Honor.
Right.
You know,
mean
all the
how she
business.
gets customers
Yes.
is usually word of mouth. Okay.
And we've been there for 6 years, so.
in
we-
that
we're-
location?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So then what happened that the relationship ended?
So yes, after 6 months, which she never mentioned that her plan or intention was to wait for her daughter to graduate and then bring her in as an esthetician as well. She never gave me that warning.
Coming up on Supreme Justice.
My intuition told me
Don't
that.
tell me about your intuition. Tell me what happened.
Oh,
Day
what was
one.
happening?
On day
what was
one.
happening was that they were definitely stealing my clients.
No, I think you got jealous.
And later,
So the car you ruined the transmission because it was an all-wheel drive vehicle.
Yeah, everybody knows it's common knowledge that you can't tow an all-wheel car. You need to have it on a flatbed.
closed captioning provided by. If you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring your case to court, call 1-888-552-6878. You're watching Supreme Justice with Judge Karen. Supreme Justice is back with the case of Molly and Joanne Hurst, who are suing Zoe Parker for breach of contract.
I don't understand something because she testified that after you had been there 6 months, it was 5 months later that she graduated.
Yes.
So once I graduated,
Right.
I was allowed to, my mother hired me to come in and
How
also.
much time had she been there when you finally graduated? The 6 months?
She was there
No,
6
yes.
months.
Okay,
and
so
then she
that's-
lasted 3 days. Once I got in, she lasted 3 days.
3 days
and
after
left.
you started
Right.
working there.
So yeah, I left
So
3 days.
6 months in, she
3 days.
graduates. She starts working as a esthetician.
Mm-hmm.
And you said, I'm not with that. And
Yeah,
you,
I'm not, because she was not communicative, and I felt like my business was being threatened. So that's why I took
there was a
myself out of
problem
the
with that
situation.
because we had a lot of clients, and the clients were waiting a long time for their appointments.
That's
Right.
part of
So
the
I
business,
had to
Your
bring
Honor.
someone
That's part
in,
of the business.
and why not?
no,
bring
that's
my...
the reason why I don't go to salons. Because I do not like waiting.
Exactly. And they were waiting 15 to 20 minutes. That's a long wait.
Right.
And
I
they
feel
were
like that's short in
complaining.
this business.
We wanted to expand our business.
Right.
Not
And
How
I did
big,
that.
how big is this place? How big is your business?
She only had 6 chairs, and only 3 of them were always rented out. Other than that, 3 were empty.
Okay, but did you have some room in the back where you would do the facials, or everything's being done out in the open? A
No, it
person
wasn't
is-
no
There was
room
an
in the
area.
back.
Yeah, there was.
When you
there's
say
a
you're
private
renting a
room.
chair, is it a chair or is it space? Because I don't
Space.
say I can give facial in a chair.
space, yeah, space.
Okay, so you're renting space.
Yes, and
So
then-
now you're bringing your daughter in.
To help out because she graduated.
Right, but so
was-
she's doing the same thing though.
Exactly.
Most salons don't have, a small salon, usually they don't have more than one person that's an
Exactly,
esthetician.
Your Honor.
Unless the person's doing nails, a nail tech.
Right, but
So my idea was she was coming in to help speed the process, or help, or do
Right.
do
So-
other services to just help.
Right.
But
it
no,
looks
that was
like
not
you
the
got
case.
upset pretty quickly
Oh,
because
yes,
by
Your
day
Honor.
3 you were gone.
Oh yes, Your Honor.
What happened day 1?
My intuition told me
Don't
that.
tell me about your intuition. Tell me what happened.
Oh,
day
what was
1.
happening?
On day
what was
1.
happening was that they were definitely stealing my clients.
no, I think you got jealous.
Yeah.
How was she
afraid of the
stealing your
competition.
clients?
She was stealing my clients because my clients would come in, and when they would wait, she would say, "Oh, my daughter could do your services for 25% off." Of course, anyone's going to take that.
Did
Your
you
Honor.
offer those services?
Yes, I did.
Well, that wasn't
Anyone
fair
is
to her.
going to take that, Your Honor.
But that wasn't fair to her.
But she was not keeping up with the
But
clients.
they were her clients coming in. Remember, we had an agreement. Excuse me, we had an agreement that I'm going to turn some over to you, you're going to turn some over to me, but these are her clients coming in and you're passing it off to your daughter.
Yes, Your Honor, you're correct.
So you just felt like you were going to cut your losses, take your clients, and move on.
Exactly,
And
Your
so
Honor.
you
I
left.
felt like if I stayed any longer, it would eventually have been to where I lose out on work and I'm sitting there with no work, and she basically takes all my clientele.
But
and
you
phase me
agreed to
out.
pay $500 a month a year.
You're right, but I can't
Yes.
do that if she's going to steal all my clients.
Okay, but there's no caveats in here. I agree that
You're right.
I'm going to pay $500 a month.
But
Exactly.
but the contract never stated anything about sharing clients. I
It
have
didn't-
no.
That's what you do in
excuse
a
me, your
salon.
contract states nothing about the client thing.
Right.
That was some oral agreement you had.
Right.
But the actual written rental agreement, which is what's really binding here, what this is about, says that you're going to pay $500 a month and you're going to get 30 days notice.
But it doesn't state.
Okay, I'm not going to argue with you, ma'am. I'm being asked to interpret a contract. It says I'm going to pay $500 a month and give you 30 days notice.
Exactly.
Now, did you ever rent out the chair to somebody else?
No, afterwards, Joanne, my daughter, took over.
Okay, so she took over that chair.
Yes.
So I feel like she could have
Okay.
paid that then.
The thing is, when somebody breaks a lease, the landlord, let's use a landlord-tenant situation, has to make reasonable efforts to find somebody to take this apartment. Let's use that. Okay, so you say 6 months into a 1-year lease, you break a lease. The landlord just can't just sit there for the next 6 months and then sue for 6 months of rent. You follow what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I'm now asking you, how were you damaged? If your daughter immediately moved into the new chair, bed, wherever it is in the back, where are your damages?
Well, because she took most of the clients.
Who
The
took
customers would come in
Tho-
looking
they
for
were-
her.
Those were my
They were
clients.
hers.
But then she should have given me the $500 since she was taking the clients.
See, you are now connecting those two things that aren't connected in this lease. All she had to do was give you $500 a month. Immediately when she left, your daughter took over her spot. So you really don't have any damages. You don't have any damages.
But it took a while for her to start getting clients.
It's got nothing to do with clients. She needs to get on what? Social media.
But it's in the
Okay,
contract.
I'm ready to rule. Judgment for the defendant. Good luck to you.
Judge Karen has ruled in favor of the defendant. The co-plaintiff's claim has been denied.
The judge got it right. You tried to steal my clients and it didn't happen.
You were just jealous. You were just worried about the competition.
You knew what he did was wrong, and you should give me my money.
Coming up,
You went out and what happened?
So I get halfway through and it starts to downpour. And it's off-road, it's dirt everywhere, so it very quickly became mud and I got stuck.
closed captioning provided by. You're watching Supreme Justice with Judge Karen. Arthur Romanos is suing his friend, Brett Nicholson, in the amount of $1,500. Mr. Romanos claims Mr. Nicholson had his car improperly towed and says the defendant should pay for the damages.
You are suing Mr. Nicholson for $1,400 representing property damage to your vehicle, is that right?
It's $1,500 actually, Your Honor.
$1,500. And what's your relationship with the defendant?
We're old friends from high school in New York.
So, who was invited on this camping trip?
It was Brett, my ex-girlfriend Susan. We all went to high school together in New York. And my friend Denise, who lives out here, who's a rock climbing expert.
And had you ever been camping before?
I have, yeah.
How many times?
I'd say over a dozen.
And you had never been camping?
No, Your Honor.
But you were excited about this trip?
I was willing to give it a try.
Okay, so tell me what happened.
So we go to Joshua Tree for about 5 days, and the first 2 days were great.
How did you get there?
We took my car and Denise's car.
Okay, so you drove in tandem in two cars?
Correct.
And what kind of car do you have?
It's a CRV.
And what type of tires are on the car?
It's got tires for off-roading.
And had you ever seen that type of setup in a vehicle?
No. I'm not much of a car person.
Right.
Living in New York City, I take the subway everywhere.
Right, you don't own a vehicle?
No.
Okay, so what did we do with the car the first two or 3 days?
I drove it. I showed Brett how to go off-roading and what to do in case of an emergency.
Right, so when we go off-road, what is it that we're doing?
Driving over dunes and, watching
okay.
out for the rattlesnakes, of
Oh,
course.
okay. So you did that?
Yeah, I was riding along with him while he showed us this little loop that we went on.
Right. Do you know how to drive?
Yes, I do have a license.
Coming up,
I even
You were
got
going to try by yourself to get this car out of mud?
I was all by myself, so I didn't know what else to do.
closed captioning provided by. You're watching Supreme Justice with Judge Karen. Supreme Justice is back with the case of Arthur Romanos, who is suing Brett Nicholson for property damage.
So then what happened with the day that this incident happened? Tell me what went on. What went on?
So Susan and Denise and I, we went rock climbing, but Brett didn't want to go with us.
Rock climbing? You rock climb too?
Once in a while.
Okay, so why didn't you go rock climbing?
I was already out of my comfort zone going camping, so I was all set with climbing on rocks and stuff.
Okay, so you leave him to go rock climbing, and what happens while you're still at the site,
Well,
campsite?
he left me with his car and said that I could do some more off-roading, so I spent some time just relaxing, reading by the fire, and then I decided, I'm here by myself. There's no point in just staring at the fire the whole time, so I
Right.
did take the car.
You went out and what happened?
So I get halfway through and it starts to downpour. And it's off-road, it's dirt everywhere, so it very quickly became mud, and I got stuck.
Okay.
And he had shown us what to do in case of something like this happened.
What was that?
So start by taking out the mats from the car, putting them in front of the tire.
Okay.
So I'd rev a little bit, see if I could kind of cradle my way out.
Right.
And then I even
You
got
were
out.
going to try by yourself to get this car out of mud?
I was all by myself, so I didn't know what else to do. So
All right,
after
so what happened?
about an hour of being stuck there, I was freezing, and I was just not sure what to do.
Did you try calling him?
I did try to call him, but there was no service where
Right.
we were. I probably tried at least 2 or 3 times.
Right.
About an hour there, bigger trucks started to come out the same way.
Okay.
He was off-roading too, but had a vehicle that was clearly more equipped for it.
Okay.
And he saw that I was in need.
Okay.
And he offered to hitch me up
Right.
and tow me back to the campsite.
Right, but why did you need to be towed back to the campsite? Why didn't he just hit you and pull you out of the mud?
He just offered, and I was already, because they were staying at the campsite too,
Right.
and I told him our scenario,
Right.
and he's like, here, let me hit you up and get you back there.
Judge Karen's verdict when Supreme Justice returns. Promotional consideration provided by. You're watching Supreme Justice with Judge Karen.
Okay.
And this destroyed my transmission, and
Right.
he wasn't covered by my insurance, so I had to pay out of pocket. I have
Right.
the invoice right here.
So the car you ruined the transmission because it was an all-wheel drive vehicle.
Yeah, everybody knows it's common knowledge that you can't tow an all-wheel car. You need to
Your
have
Honor.
it on a flatbed.
And how would anyone in there who's not a mechanic know
Right.
that? I had no idea that I couldn't tow it that way.
If I'm in somebody's car, or even if I was just in my own car,
Sure.
and somebody offers to pull the car. First of all, just regular towing a car can be treacherous. I learned quite recently that you cannot tow an all-wheel drive vehicle. So I had an all-wheel drive vehicle, and I did not know that. And so I can imagine how you wouldn't have realized all of that, but it doesn't matter what you didn't understand. Once you took possession of his car, you were responsible for returning that car in the condition that it was in when you took it, and it was not in that condition. So you owe him $1,500. All right, I'm ready to rule judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,500. Good luck to you.
Judge Karen has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant is ordered to pay $1,500.
I know you didn't mean to break my car, but you did, and I'm glad you're going to have to pay for it.
No, I can tell you I'm never going to go camping again, especially with you.
This has been a production of Entertainment Studios.